This is a year in review episode with highlights from season 1, brought to you primarily by AC/DC Industrial Electric, my main sponsor, from Franco's Pizza, one of my sponsors, Sean Monahan, who also helps out by giving me a good break on my business cards. And we're going to show you the highlights, and then we're going to start the actual auction from the Rustless in Montana episode. That'll be the full first episode of this season. Thank you. Can you see me now? I'm not near as comfortable in this as my dad would have been, but hey, this is a 1931 Nash. And I'm holding on to the steering wheel. I'm just not going anywhere. Oops. Well, today we're in Hardwick, Vermont, and I'm talking with Mr. Jim Gates, the owner of Gates Salvage up in Hardwick. And Jim, you told us that we're really close to Canada. How far away are we here?
Around 45 miles from here.
So it doesn't take you very long to get there with the load once you've processed it?
No, it's, well, where we go is actually 100 miles.
Okay.
Here. Exactly 100 miles, but to go to the Canadian border, it's only about 45, somewhere in there.
And that's how far up in Vermont we are today. And Jim said... Oh, for you Mopar guys, look at this. What's left of an early Cuda. It was somebody's hot rod because it still says Cuda behind the gas tank filler. There's still some stainless on it, some glass. Not much left to restore though. And we're about to see what a salvage yard in Honolulu, Hawaii outskirts looks like right under this piece of ugly rock. And hopefully get to meet Charlie, the original salvage yard owner's son. And we're looking through recyclables and we found some neat old stuff. Just look above me now. A 1955 Mercury. Today I am in Shelby, North Carolina at Sundell Auto Specialties. And I'm going to be talking with Norman Sundell. And I'm going to be walking through their yard specializing in GM muscle. Okay, I'm in the office area interviewing Norm Sundell. And Norm, can you tell me about your vision of starting the salvage yard operation and why you tend to have focused on the Chevelle line of GM cars to begin with?
Well, the parts really grew out of a hobby of when the boys were in high school. I was interested in old cars and they were, and we started restoring old car for them to drive, and we did several of them, and one thing led to another, and this here really is a case of a hobby that got out of control.
Y'all have a seat if you want to. And this right here is a picture of my daddy, mother, and uncle. That's their store. They bought 25 acres here in 1931 out in the rural area, way out in the country from town. And they put up that little store. The best we can scale it off is 19 foot by 24. I had an artist painted on my wall back here, the exact size.
Oh.
They had a store in the front. They lived in the back. My den at home is bigger than that store and house both.
Right.
And so you can't see it, but that sign right here says 19 cents a gallon on that gas. No electricity, no paved roads, gravel. Apples 1 cent each. And so later on, they bought they started buying old junk cars, selling batteries and tires and so on. And then several years later I came along, born in a junkyard, raised in a junkyard, lived here in a junkyard, lived here all my life. And so when I graduated from high school, I went off and landed a good job, saved some money. In 1970, I got a loan on top of what money I had and reopened the junkyard, leaving what they had left out here, and then I added on 40-something hundred cars. And I sold parts for years, and we delivered to Atlanta on Tuesdays and Fridays. We were shipping old parts to New York and Sweden, Australia, sent cars to Australia and all. And then later, photography got good. People would come in here wanting to take pictures. I said, take all the pictures you want, stay all day. Then it got to where it got commercial, and I started charging. And now we have people all over the world coming, and I mean all over the world, coming to take pictures. I think we thoroughly believe that every continent has been here.
So the very first thing anyone should do.
Let me capture that right from your facial expression.
Right.
What's that about a car you say, Leonard?
Right. People always come in. People come in here and they'll say, you know, they've got antique cars, and I'll advise them that when they do a engine upgrade, if they're taking a straight 6 or 235 or a 250 out of a pickup truck and putting in a 350 with automatic transmission, you get more horsepower. So I always advise them, before you touch trying to make that vehicle run, let's budget for braking, because a car that won't start will not get you into trouble. One that won't stop will, including costing you and someone else. The most important part of your vehicle is its braking system, because when it fails, life can change.
Amen.
Quickly. But one that won't start is not a life-changing event. Always focus, whenever you're building a car, working on a car, on the braking system. That is the most important part of any vehicle. You know, even airplanes, ones that won't brake once they stop on the air, you got to have great brakes.
This was a hobby that actually took off. I started this about 17, 18 years ago. I used to work for this big corporation, and I guess I got tired of those guys counting the money before I count my money. And so that's what I did. I started this business. It just took off. I mean, just really good Lord blessed me on this. And
Okay, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Mike Waller, and I have Classic Auto Parts here in Hayden, Idaho. I started in 1988 collecting cars, and this is what I have so far. There's a 40 Packard, a 36 Packard, and a 55 Olds 98. Here we have people.
friends meet in person in, where are we? Kentucky.
Bowling Green, Kentucky at the Troy 5 Nationals.
From Australia and from New England. Now, is this true love or what?
Yeah, it is. I love this car.
Can I put you on TV?
Can you put me on TV?
With Mr. Impatience here?
Mr. Impatient, he said, is this true love? I said, yes, it is.
She's the enabler.
No, she's the
My
enabler.
car's going to be the enabler and his is Mr. Impatient because I enable him to indulge in his.
That's awesome.
Otherwise,
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, pick it, Rob.
Sorry, Nancy!
I was wondering why you guys were shouting. I realized, oh, it's because you can win the car. Okay, here we go. I better walk over here and show her first.
Nancy's here?
Hold on. Ready? Number 2, 2, 2, 1. Name? Fiano Guzzo. From Maryland. From Maine. Fiano Guzzo. From Maine. I think we got a winner. Now I have to confirm. Everybody get back, let him through. Be very careful on your way out. Congratulations, sir. Now listen, if his license does not have that name on it,
Well, we just did a recap of Season 1 of Bring 'Em Back to Life. I hope you enjoyed it, and thank you all for subscribing to our channel on YouTube.com. For the next season, Season 2, Johnny Cannonball Baker is going to be continuing the work on the 56 Chevrolet convertible wreck. We're going to visit some more salvage yards, and we're going to go to Texas, we're going to Kansas, North Dakota, Washington State, and back to Montana for another auction for the Rustless in Montana. So I hope you enjoy this season, and we'll be out there getting video of salvage yards all over America to bring them back to life. And keep in mind, we don't restore cars, we bring them back to life.
On Facebook, almost all of that is what Mona did. She's taking care of the website and all that. She's a teacher at one of the Hutterite colonies out here and is fitting this in around all the other stuff that's going on.
Randy, you want to answer this?
And next to Mona is Shane Higley. I don't think Shane needs any introduction anywhere in the world. People either know Shane personally or by reputation. Shane is one of the few people in Montana that goes to Barrett-Jackson and bids. Pour enough vodka and Shane will do anything. But he owns Higley Metals down here, and Higley Salvage, Higley Repair, all sorts of things. Great guy. We've been friends for years, up until this point anyway, until I said that about the vodka. But Shane Higley, everybody knows Shane, and he's in on this deal. So this collection was put together by Jim and Joanne Printy. They started in 1967 out on the west end of town, and they started buying cars, doing repair work and everything. And so 50 years down the road, of course, they are not as young as they used to be, and last spring they decided that they would sell the major part of their collection to these three guys. And so Shane, Dave, and Merle got together and bought out about 95-97% of Printy's Auto Salvage. The big yard is over on the west side of Cutbank Creek. There's 1,000 cars in there. That'll be next year. That's probably two-day auctions next year of just cars. And then there's one building down there that, there's a week of half a dozen guys just cleaning that one building out. It's full of engines and parts, new old stock parts. There's 11 school buses, I think, full of stuff. Packed to the brim of new old stock parts and all that. This year, we're not doing any of that kind of stuff. This was the overflow yard. And I got to tell you really quickly, the first time I was up here, you could not step off of that trail that goes through here. You could not ride a four-wheeler off of it. You could not drive a pickup out in it. There was a turnaround at the end, and there was a little wide spot down about where their motorhomes are parked that you could pull off the road so somebody could go past you. Other than that, this was full of swathers, oil field equipment, pipe, everything you can possibly think of was out there in this field. And the big chain link yard down there was so full you could not ride a four-wheeler through it. There was one little path that you could get back in there and get back out the other gate. And they cleaned this whole thing up in the last 3 months. Made it all work. It's absolutely amazing accomplishment. Merle, of course, has a business to run. Shane has a business to run, and Dave has a business to run. And they got a couple guys to help. And they came out here every day and moved iron. They had a big shear in here, sheared up several hundred tons of heavy iron. And then there were all sorts of cars. There was a lot of like 90s Ford pickups that burned up. And those got crushed and hauled away. And what is left is the good stuff that's here today that we're going to sell here in just a few minutes. I want to introduce a couple other people. Back over here with the video camera is Dennis Salvage, and he's the guy that made the video that's on Facebook that's had like 200,000 views now of this auction. We appreciate him coming back out. This will be on his Bringing Back the Life show. And also Matt is here that did the drone footage. It's on there. Where's Matt? There he is, clear back over there, the guy with the beard. He's the guy that came out and did all that really cool drone stuff that was on the on Facebook and some other places where you can see that. You would not believe what it looked like. If you haven't seen the pictures of the yard, there's a couple of them inside the trailer of just shot from above of what this looked like before they started.
No, sorry.
So we want to move on. It's going to be a long day, and we want to get started on it. So I'm going to do just a couple announcements of a few ground rules here about the auction. First one is that I'm going to introduce